and welcome to News 360 on Housing TV Africa. I am Phoebe Onwabuje. The headlines. Lagos orders demolition of police barracks. States plan emergency shelters in preparation for Lagdo Dam release. Federal government deploys experts to test for hazardous chemicals in Borno. On the foreign scene, Feds raid court to have consequences on the housing market. And now the news in detail. The Lagos State government has raised the alarm over an imminent building collapse at the Mopol 20 barracks, Onigbongbo, in the Ikeja local government area of the state. This is as the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, is set to begin an emergency evacuation and demolition of the old Block 3 parts of the barracks. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the Permanent Secretary of LASEMA, Damilola Okeosaitolu, said its response team had assessed some parts of the structure and found them in a precarious condition. The LASEMA boss stated the building and adjacent structures would also be evacuated immediately to prevent any loss of life or property. Okeosaitolu, however, urged members of the public within the vicinity to remain calm and refrain from spreading misinformation on social media. The General Manager, Lagos State Materials Testing Laboratory Agency, Engineer Olayinka Abdul, has warned building developers in Lagos to adhere strictly to the highest standards of safety and quality to prevent the avoidable collapse of buildings in the state. She stated this during a visit of a delegation from the Lagos State Parastatals Monitoring Office, led by its Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Aderemi Oluremi Osonsoya, saying the warning was to effectively fulfill the mandate of her agency in protecting the integrity of structures. She emphasized that the use of substandard steel, stanchions, brittle concrete mix, and salinated soil often prevail upon buildings to cause ripple effects to people's lives from caved-in structures. Now, the federal government has deployed a team of experts to help mitigate the effects of the flooding that's ravaged parts of Borno State. This comes as former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo tasked Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum to use last week's flood disaster in the state to show his leadership and courage qualities to overcome the unfortunate incident. The federal government also announced that experts would carry out continuous water sampling and tests to identify sources of hazardous chemicals, taking proactive measures to prevent waterborne diseases in the state. Now, following the proposed release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon into the River Niger and River Benue, states along the flood path have started planning temporary shelters for affected residents. The federal government alerted Nigerians recently of the plan by the Cameroonian authorities to release water from the Lagdo Dam. A statement by the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, Umar Mohammed, listed 11 states at risk. To that effect, the Director of Planning, Research and Statistics of the National State Emergency Management Agency, Danladi Obago, told newsmen yesterday that the state had begun setting up temporary settlements for residents living in flood-prone areas. Obago added that sensitization campaigns had begun across the 13 local government areas of the state to enlighten residents about the dangers of living around flood-prone areas. In Benue State, the Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Andoa Nsekunde, disclosed to newsmen on Wednesday that the government had also begun identifying facilities to be used as temporary shelters for flood victims. Kunde said the state had also set up a technical committee on flood disaster preparedness, mitigation, and response. On the foreign scene, over the past couple of years, the U.S. economy has remained stable except for the housing market, which remains paralyzed by high prices and chronically low supply. One of the reasons of the supply and demand imbalance is there are more people ready to buy than there are houses for sale. That was true even before the pandemic came along and sent demand through the roof. The market had become all but impenetrable as the mortgage rates went from historic lows in 2020 to the highest levels in a generation last year. More stories and Housing TV news at the top of the hour. I am Phoebe Onwabuje. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.